Oh, flick my finger.
How are you?
Hey, how's it going tonight?
Hello.
Yes, hey y'all, welcome to Blue Table Talk. I'm your girl, Deborah Jones. We are here with an exciting night tonight. We have our candidate for county clerk. We have Jess Prince. She's running for county clerk. And before we bring her on, I would do a little housekeeping as usual. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month,
Yeah.
and the ladies are in pink. And we have some men wearing pink as well. A man. I always say a man in a man till he wears pink. Because men do get breast cancer as
They
well.
do.
Yes, and so women that we should do our self exam every day, not every month, every day, because you never know when a lump might appear in our breast.
That's
So
right.
men and women need to do breast exam. And if you do find one, don't just sit there and wait. Don't hesitate. Call your physician and go to your doctor and see what's going on, because you never know what is going on with yourself. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, so let's get that done. We are approaching voting season. This is
We are 1 week away.
1 week away from it, Jess.
Today.
My God. So, October is voting. You have until October 28th to get the mail-in ballots. So go ahead and do what you need to do, and let's get those mail-in ballots because we need your vote. Also, early voting is October 24th through November 4th.
Yes.
And election day is Tuesday.
November the 8th.
Yeah, so we're ready. So y'all, come on, we have to vote because there's no such thing as a vote that doesn't matter. So
That's right.
we need to get in there and we need to vote and get it together. No, that's why I bring everybody on the candidates on so you can get used to them, get to know them, because a lot of people don't know who our candidates are, and in order for them to know who the candidates are, I apologize, y'all, but my dog is crying for me. He's been sick, so y'all
Hey, mommy has to do what a mommy has to do.
please bear with me. And so anyway, we have Jess Prince. Hi, Jess. How are you tonight?
I am so well, and I want to thank you for having me on. And I want to thank you for all the work you put into providing such an informative piece to our community. You always strive to be informative and actionable, and I really admire that. I
Oh,
thank
thank
you.
you so much. Yes, a lot of people really don't know who you are, even though you have been on my podcast before. But
Mhm.
people don't know who you are. So can you kind of introduce yourself? Give us a little introduction, a small one.
Absolutely, I would love to. So, my name is Jess Prince. I was born and raised in the north end of Beaumont and lived there until I was about 21. Met my husband, and he's from Finette, so I lived in Finette for a while. But we met at Lamar University. I graduated Westbrook in 1997, but I went to Central for ninth through 11th grade, and so I know a lot of people from both high schools. And we started a business back in 2003. So I've been a business owner now for almost 2 decades, which sounds crazy to me when I say it out loud. But I also am a broker. I own a real estate brokerage called Principality Properties. And I'm a community enthusiast. I'm pretty active in a lot of our nonprofits in the area and different organizations that I'm a member of. I love spending my free time in the community. And so, yeah, I'm running for county clerk. I'm the only candidate that has actually done that job, which I'm very proud to say. And I look forward to questions and talking more about the role and responsibilities.
Cool, cool. So what are the qualities of a county clerk?
Well, I think most importantly, a county clerk is a public servant. And so you need to be great with people. You need to be someone who enjoys helping people, which I am someone who enjoys helping people. And everything that we do at the county clerk's office is customer service based, but it is also heavily regulated by statutes by our Texas legislature. So it's not like the county clerk has a lot of say over certain matters. Now, the office culture, yes, we do have a say in that. The amount of interaction we have with the public, absolutely, we have a say in that. But the day-to-day operations, the retention schedules of our documents, the fees that we're charging people for copies or filing, that's all mandated by our Texas legislature. So it's a very dynamic position with a lot of departments. We have, several divisions within the county clerk's office, and we have a lot of employees. And having worked there before, I can say that it's a lot of fun. There are a lot of plates spinning, and there's never a dull moment. So you need to be someone who can multitask and really relay to the rest of the people there that it's a team, that we're all working together, and that our main goal is to be a resource to our customers.
Yeah, yeah. So what's your vision when you get in there?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll tell you my top three goals for my first year. The term is 4 years. And so, what I really want to focus on in the first year is increasing the access that our community has. So, of course, we are managing public records, and so there's a built in element of transparency with that. It's not that you can't access your records, but I don't know the last time you tried to look anything up on our website. It's very laborious, it's hard to navigate. The staff there spend way too many hours of the day with people on the phone, like saying, "How do I work your website?" And so it definitely needs to be overhauled. The structure of our online presence needs to be modified and updated because it's 2022 and you can even file documents online now. And so it needs to be more accessible and up to date. And then to that same end, we don't have any presence with the community on platforms like social media, where a lot of people are consuming the majority of their news and their content. And so what they don't see anything from the county clerk's office, they just have no, it doesn't occur to them that you have to go to the website or you have to go downtown and physically look at a billboard outside the courthouse door to see a bulletin. And so I want to do much better job of a consistent communication with our community and being known as a resource and accessible and available so that anytime people do have questions, they know where to go and who to ask.
Right.
Secondly, there are a lot of people that work in that department, and there are a lot of moving pieces. And as I said, we have multiple divisions. But to me, having managed over 40 people for almost 20 years, I have a pretty, I would say, unique management style. I am a delegator. I don't like to micromanage, but it's very important to me that when people come to work, they feel valued, they feel important, they feel happy to be there. And to me, in my experience, it really increases productivity when people are comfortable and, feeling like they are appreciated. And so, some of that comes from updating policies that have been, old and dated and maybe more strict, but also just a vibe in the office. When you focus on how everyone on your team is feeling, it goes a long way.
Right.
Thirdly, I know growing up in the north end of Beaumont that none of the government officials, none of the elected officials, none of the representatives in our community ever came to talk to us in elementary school or high school or anything about what their job was or how it affected me, or what happens, once you turn 18. And so I want to implement a reverse mentorship program within the county clerk's office. Hopefully that will spread. Judge Doyle has done some internship programs when she became JP, and I hope that all of the county departments will want to do that, because to me, our young people are the future. They're our future voters. They're our future leaders. And if we're not engaging them and they don't understand why the office is relevant, then that's a gap that we need to bridge.
Exactly.
But I also think they have a lot to teach us. They have a lot to teach us about the future and what they want to see and where they want to go. So those are three of my main goals of focus. I will say there's an inclusivity piece that I think is missing in our department in terms of, having more access for our disabled voters or our voters that don't speak English. And there's some pieces that I'd like to work on for that as well. We have all of our ballots and our notices, etc. When as it regards to elections, they are in Spanish, but none of the rest of our website is multilingual. And we clerk the commissioner's court at the county clerk's office,
Right.
and that those guys are conducting the business of our county. And as it stands now, there's not an option for closed caption or any translation for Spanish or Vietnamese available. And when you think about it, some of our oldest documents, the oldest records in the county clerk's office dating back to 1901 are actually in Spanish. And
Mhm.
so, that's not the main language of Jefferson County, but it is something that I think we should be better with. And
Right.
so that's a progressive mentality that I'm bringing to the office, because I think, as we move on, we need to grow. So those are
Right.
some of my plans.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. Let me speak to my audience for a minute. Guys, thank you for joining us on Blue Table Talk. This is Blue Table Talk, and we are interviewing today Jess Prince, who is running for county clerk. And if you don't mind, to move over to our comment page and tell Jess hello. And if you have any questions that you would like to probe to her, please do so on the web. And so I will throw it to her and let her know what's going on, and she will answer your questions. Okay, so when I've been to a lot of forums that you guys been attending lately,
Mhm.
and so one of the questions that I'm curious about is an election administrator. So,
Mhm.
would you support an election administrator or what?
First, let me say that the institution of an elections administrator is not the decision of the county clerk.
Hmm.
That is actually the decision of our commissioner's court. And so, if I were elected to be county clerk, I would then have to go with whatever they decide.
Right.
However, that being said, there are a lot of benefits to having an elections administrator. Right now, our county has the county clerk's office that handles the administration of the elections. And let me just say quickly what that boils down to. We are conducting the trainings, we're hiring the staff to work the polls, we are handling the maintenance of the equipment, the distribution of the equipment, all of the mail ballots that are processed happen in the county clerk's office. The notices regarding our polling locations, dates, times, etc., are all done at the county clerk's office. And we do that for the county, but we contract with all the political subdivisions within Jefferson County. So that may mean a municipality like the city of Beaumont, or the school district, or the Port Authority. The tax assessor's piece at the moment is voter registration. Now, many counties throughout Texas have transitioned to an elections administrator, which means that the county clerk and the voter registrar are not overseeing that process. And the reason that that is positive is because it is a neutral person. The elections administrator is appointed by the commissioner's court and the county party chairs. And
Mhm.
that means they're never on the ballot, they're never up for election. They can literally hold a neutral stance and conduct the administration of the election. Now, most counties in Texas have gone to this system. Even Jasper and Orange County have elections administrators. And it's just because, with all of the distrust and misinformation and suspicion regarding elections and surrounding elections, particularly since 2020,
Mhm.
you know, why not have a person that's appointed by your elected officials, the
Right.
commissioners court and the party chairs, who are elected by their constituents, to determine a party, a person, a third party person. They're not affiliated with Republican, they're not affiliated
Right.
with Democrat, they're never elected. And so, yes, I think there are benefits to that. And our current budget at the county clerk's office has a huge component, $988, I believe, $1,000 go toward funding our elections department. There's no
Right.
reason that that funding could not just be moved over to this elections administrator to oversee this process. And
Right.
so, again, it's not my choice as the county clerk. to decide whether we do that or not. And I will comply with whatever our commissioners court decides. But do I think it's a benefit to everyone? Yes, I do.
Mhm. Yeah. That's why I asked that question because I've done a lot of research, and so I read a lot, and then I see where a lot, like you said, a lot of cities in Texas and nationwide have
Hmm.
election administrators. So I was
Yeah.
wondering why doesn't Beaumont have one? You know,
Well, because our commissioners court has not decided that that's what they want to do. Um, I can't speculate as to why that is. What I will say is that the county clerk's office in Jefferson County has done an incredible job of administering fair and accessible elections for years, and we are certainly capable of continuing to do that. It is not a matter of whether or not we are capable. It is a matter of what makes sense and, is it efficient?
right.
At the end of the day, that's what we're looking at.
At the end of the day, it needs to be done. Okay, so I listened to you earlier, and you said that you worked in the county clerk's office, but you never was county clerk because
That's
county
right.
did 16 years, and then now they have Laura. So she came in right behind with Teresa, then Laura. So what have you done to improve your knowledge of county clerk?
Well, they like you said, they did hire me to be chief deputy, and what the chief deputy does, and this is after Carolyn retired. So I never worked with Carolyn.
Okay.
I did work with Teresa. I was her chief deputy, and the chief basically has all the same, signature authority, etc. We're not elected, and so why was I hired to be chief? Because of my past professional experience and credentials. I have the management experience, I have the oversight experience, I have grant writing experience, I have years of managing budgets. As a broker, I'm very well versed in contract negotiations. I've been involved with our press club and with nonprofits, so I'm very open and easily adaptable with public speaking and with public relations. And so all of those skill sets made me a perfect fit to be hired as chief. While I was there as chief, obviously I had never worked in the county clerk's office directly, but the county clerk manages public records, which I have mentioned. And a lot of those records are real estate documents. I've been in real estate since 2014, so that was not new to me. We clerk the courts and we do administrative processes there. And then we're clerking the commissioner's court as well. So it's a lot of administrative work. And I have previous experience working with getting out the vote, with being familiar with the precincts, with the infrastructure of our county. As a broker, I learned all of those things. And I have a Master of Public Administration. So instead of studying a Master of Business, which I've worked in the private sector in business for almost 20 years, but I chose to study public administration and government because that to me was a good way for me to give back to this community. When government is not the same as business. Yes, we have a lot of the same principles, but it's a different animal. And so while I was there, obviously I learned all of the day-to-day tasks and functions of the clerk's office, but it certainly helped me, grasp those quickly because of my past experience.
So you've been there, and you've seen that all that entails in the county clerk's office. So why you want to run for the clerk?
Honestly, I think the job is fun. I love interacting with the public and I enjoy helping people. I like the fact that it's dynamic and that no day is ever the same and that you're constantly solving problems. I'm a very curious person and, you know, I love the historical component of all of it. But to me, I felt a little bit responsible to run as well because, Carolyn was the clerk for 16 years,
Right.
and Teresa knew that she was not running. And being there day to day with the staff and also talking to people in the community, there was a lot of uncertainty about who the next leader was going to be. And hearing that and processing it, and then giving myself time to decide, do I like this job? Am I well suited for this job? Yes. So why not me? Why not run? All of my past experience basically positioned me to be a great fit for this role.
Mhm.
And I never intended specifically on running for county clerk, but everything has lined up to, and that opportunity presented itself, and so I'm running.
I'm listening to you and everything that you're saying, and so my thing to you is a definition of good service. What do you think? What is your definition of good service?
Good service.
Yeah, because you have to feed to the public. So
Absolutely. I think, you can't please everyone. And certainly while I was there, the many days someone comes in and they're frustrated because you can't deliver what it is that they want to get. But to me, the best definition of service is going above and beyond to do the very best you can within your scope of responsibility to help a person, to convey to them what it is they need to do. If it's not something you personally can do, for example, the county clerk and no one there can give legal advice. And a lot of people come in with documents that they want to file, whether it's about a deed or a will or a guardianship, and they have questions. Well, I understand that you have questions, but I can't answer those questions as with legal advice. I can provide you resources for people that can give you legal advice. So I think as long as you are providing people with the resources they need to solve the problem that they have, then that is the best definition of service.
let me go back to my audience. Okay, so like I asked earlier, if you don't mind to come on the comment page and just say hi to Jess and give us a little question. So don't let Deborah Jones ask all these questions.
They know
So
you have it covered.
yeah, evidently, right? So come on the comment page, say hi to Jess, ask some questions. I'm gonna probe it to her and so she can answer because this is voting season. Voting starts next Monday. Early voting starts next Monday, and we need to be confident about who we vote for. And so
Yes.
all of us be confident about who we vote for. What question would you like to ask Jess? Because she's running for county clerk, and we're looking for a county clerk. She's in the office. She's running for it. So what do you want to ask her? Go ahead and tell me. Okay, so we know that you talking about the will and the marriage life and all that.
Mhm.
That's confidential information. As running for county clerk and about this confidential information, how would you maintain the confidentiality and security of the information you work with?
Well, that is an excellent question. So, at the county clerk's office, we utilize redaction software, and that software is to ensure that names of minors, for example, or other sensitive information like social security numbers be removed before these documents are made public. That is a huge concern. It is certainly a responsibility that is very important to our office, and I mean those protections are in place. So it's certainly a very relevant question.
Yeah, yeah. So if I came there and I wanted to look something up, will I be able to, or what?
Give me an example of what you would want
Like,
to look.
okay, say I want to look at whether or not a will is in place.
Mhm.
It has to go through the
Yes,
county. Yeah.
yes. So you could absolutely come there. It's kind of like, which is one of the other things I love about it. It's kind of like a library. We have all of these archives of documents that are available, hard copies, of course, because we did not always live in a digital world. And the will and probate section of our county clerk's office is one of the last pieces that has not been digitized. And so, yes, you could come in, you could physically spend all day, every day looking up wills in our records department. We have commissioners court minutes upstairs in the archives. We have personal property records that are there stored all throughout the floor. And we have several segments of the basement that are full of old documents as well that have been scanned. But currently, probate is not a resource online. You have to come in person and look at the physical documentation.
Okay, hey, we have to show ID.
No, it's public record.
That's not the word.
But it's been redacted, like you asked. I mean, if there's sensitive information, if there's a minor, that's not, you're not gonna be able to see it.
Right. So what are your strengths and weakness?
Well, I think my strengths are certainly probably my adaptability. I have been very involved in our community since, I don't know, I can't even remember when I wasn't, but I think it's, one of my strengths is being comfortable anywhere with any crowd of people and being willing to or able to find commonalities. To me, community is a strength, and being present in the community is a strength, and wanting better for our community is a strength. And I'm very consistent about that. I think in terms of a weakness, I sometimes am so passionate about giving back and contributing that I overcommit myself. I may be on too many boards or be, committed to attend too many things. And part of that is just my heart for public service. I don't want to say no. I don't want to pass up an opportunity to help somebody. And I have to be careful about that. We need to have, boundaries for ourselves and how much we give back. And so, that may sound great, but I think it is a weakness, or it can be a weakness, because when you overdo it, you're not taking care to be mindful about that, then it's costing you something somewhere else.
That this election is very crucial, and we as voters, I have mentioned to a lot of people who's voting that we have to hold people accountable
Mm-hmm.
who we put in our office.
Definitely.
So, we listen to you all the time. I'm not saying you personally. I'm saying,
Right.
The candidate. We listen to you all the time, and we're wondering whether or not you're going to do what you say you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is it that's your motto, that's your vision, that's your the motto that you're going to do for the public or do for the office itself that we don't know about?
Well, I mean, you probably do know my slogan is "Let me clerk it." Now, what does that mean?
Yeah.
The county clerk is responsible, as we've been discussing, for a lot. For basically, we are managing and recording all of the special moments and memories and minutes of the history of this county.
Mm-hmm.
And that's certainly a large responsibility. But in terms of my personal values and motto and things that I bring to work every day, whether I'm elected or not, I value honesty, I value relationships, I value like you said, the credibility and purpose that it takes to do what you say you're going to do. And I will say that I have a very long history of doing exactly what I say I'm going to do. And that's one reason that people count on me. That's one reason that they call me when they need help with something. Have you heard the expression, if you want something done, ask a busy person? I mean, there are worker bees, and people know your work ethic, and I'm dependable in that sense. And I'm also a competitive person, but I mean, my biggest competitor is me. I don't want to commit to something and half-ass it, pardon my French, but that's just not I'm an Aries, that's not in my personality. So I give 100% all the time. And I am proud to say that I have that reputation, because it's important. If you commit to people that you're going to deliver, then they need to be able to count on you.
Yeah. I'm coming to the office, and so I'm very irate. And so, how would you handle a person like that?
I've dealt with a lot of de-escalating in my career. My previous career in the petrochemical industry dealt with a lot of 24/7 on call. It dealt with a lot of ego and personality, and it also dealt with a lot of crisis. You're not in a 24/7 job with easy breezy. You think about 24/7 work, it's dispatchers, it's law enforcement, it's first responders, it's not people that are having fun planning parties. And so I'm very good in high intensity situations and with de-escalating. I think when people are irate, part of the problem is that they're not feeling heard, and people need to feel like you're hearing their concern, and then you can address it moving forward. And so it's very important to be a good listener.
Yeah.
And that's how I would handle it first and foremost. Identify what is their problem and how can I help them solve it. And listening is always a great de-escalation.
Always. That's what someone wants you to do, is just to listen to them.
Yeah, they want to feel heard, and that is a human trait, and I think it's universal. It's very important to be a good listener.
Right. The first impression of anyone is your lasting impression.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe your employees should dress to impress?
I'm sorry?
Do you believe that your employees should dress to impress?
I believe that my employees should be professional. I believe that professional settings such as the courthouse needs to be acknowledged. It needs to be respected. People, dress to impress is a very, what is the
Broad.
word I'm looking for? It means something different to everyone.
Yes.
And so, you need to not be vague. I love dress to impress, but what that means to me is, go over the top. I think professionalism is more important in an office setting, especially when you have people of all demographics coming in, to get to as customers. They're all ages, all genders. And so I certainly don't think that, we need to be up there in tracksuits, if that's what you're asking. We may have a tracksuit day like once a year.
I've seen you all over Beaumont, and every time I've seen you, you were dressed to impress. You see,
yes, I love fashion, and I love getting dressed, but some people are not into that. I just ask that people be dressed in a professional manner and equipped to be productive, because I will say that we all know if you are not comfortable, it's very hard to be concentrated and focused on the task at hand. And so I think there's a fine line. You know what I mean? I'm in heels every day of the week. I don't expect everyone to be in heels every day of the week. That's a preference, but some people aren't comfortable in heels. You need to be comfortable, especially in your footwear on the job.
Right.
And, the majority of the staff at the county clerk's office are sitting at a computer all day long. And so, comfort is certainly to be considered for that.
Right. Now you're working with some very, like we said earlier, you're working with some very responsible documents up there. So how would you ensure that all your court records are up to date?
Well, we have software for that.
You just said that the wheels aren't on.
That's correct, but they are the last piece. And so let me just point out that particularly during Carolyn Guidry's term, she worked for years for the digitization of the documents. But that is a very expensive and long process, and it is contracted to a third-party vendor, and it takes a long time. I mean, think about it. We're talking about documents dated back to the 1900s. And so it's not that the probate department will not be digitized. It's just the last piece of our office that has not been. But that grant funding is in play, and so that process will be next.
Right. So you will try at least to digitize almost
Of
every.
course, absolutely. Our whole office, every record that we have needs to be digitized so that the public can search it easier. We're not using microfilm anymore, and it is expensive to taxpayers, I'll say. When you're not proactively updating your system and staying modern, it is an extra cost to our taxpayers because, microfilm and tape and all of these things, that's not where we are now. And so you don't want to be too behind the curve on modernizing your systems, and you, of course, want to take advantage of all the grant funding that enables us to be current and relevant in all of our documentation.
Right. Okay, let me go back to my audience and say, okay, guys, we're waiting. I'm waiting for your questions to come on the comment page. So don't forget, we're in our voting season right now. Early voting starts next week, the 24th, all the way to November 4th, and then election day is on November 8th. So we have Jess Prince who's running for Jefferson County Jefferson County Clerk.
Clerk.
Clerk it. And so
Look at it.
there are some questions that we need to ask Jess that I don't know what you want to ask her. I'm just asking her some questions I want to ask her. So come on out on the comment page and ask Jess some questions. Kathy Wingate did say you do so much for the county. Thank you, Jess Prince.
Thank you, Ms. Wingate. I appreciate that.
So with that being said, I know that I never worked in the courthouse before. I never worked in no part of the courthouse, but I know that it could be stressful. So it could be a stressful environment. How would you communicate with people to ensure they stay calm, especially your people that your employees?
Okay, so are you like talking about an emergency situation?
Yes, in this situation.
Okay, so we definitely have policies and protocols in place. For example, if there were to be a shooter or some other sort of, because let's face it, we have the courts above us on the second floor.
Right.
You never know what's going to happen. I mean,
Right.
I think 4 months ago or longer, a man jumped over the railing,
Right.
and nearly took out a security guard. And so you never know what's going to happen up there. But we definitely have procedures in place and protocols in place, and what to do when something unexpected happens, because you need to be prepared all the time. Communicating with everyone, not just in an emergency, but to me, communication with your staff is the most critical part of your entire day. If you're not communicating and they don't feel like they can talk to you or vice versa, you're not accomplishing much. And so that is the biggest piece and priority, is to all be on the same page if something is happening. I will say, we're fortunate. We're on the first floor. The security guards, the sheriff's department are right outside the door. And there were many times when they had to come in and address something, like you and I were discussing earlier. But everyone there in the office certainly knows what to do and where to go when things are not going as expected.
Right. Yeah, I remember that incident, and I was like, wow, and I know people were freaking out behind that.
Of course. But I mean, every day at the courthouse is an adventure.
It's an adventure. Yes. Terry Ross said, thank you, Terry. Says, what changes are Jess going to bring to the county clerk's office, and what's her day one task once she wins?
Well, Terry, my friend, I'm glad you're here. I did answer that earlier, but I'm going to talk about it again. I have several goals for when I win. One of them is to increase the engagement within the community and to enhance the access that already exists. As I indicated earlier, we are managing public records. Transparency and regulation are built into everything that we do, but we need to be more consistent with messaging to the community, and we need to make it easier for our customers to find what it is that they're looking for. And so that will take some aggressive updates in our online structure and with our online presence. And I'm very committed to doing that early on, because it's way behind schedule. It needs to be done. Secondly, I talked about the office culture, about updating policies and procedures there, and making sure that everyone in the team feels valued and challenged, because it's easy to get bored in a job where you are doing redundant tasks. And we need to be on top of evaluations. We need to be prepared to elevate people to the next level and give them opportunities to expand and grow. And I think that helps with retention with your employees. And then thirdly, I talked about the reverse mentorship program that I want to implement because of the lack of interaction I had with anyone that worked in public government or elected officials. When I was a kid, no one came and talked to us about what the county clerk does. And I think even today there are many adults that don't know what the county clerk is doing. And that is just an educational piece that is missing that I would like to address. And so engaging our teenagers in high school and in college, having them come in, learn about the role of the county clerk. I mean, think about this. When you turn 18, you can buy real estate, you can register to vote, you can purchase property, buying real estate, you can probate a will, you can get married, you can file a DBA. All of those things happen in the county clerk's office. And if you are not aware of that, when you want to do any of those things, you're not going to know where to go or who to talk to. So if we bring in students to work in our office, they of course are in communications with each other, and they can teach us a lot of things too about how to stay relevant to the younger generation of our community. So those are some of the goals that I have. Deborah, did I lose you? Deborah, are you still there? I think I've lost the host, but it appears I'm still live. Guys, I'm not sure if you can still hear me. I don't see Deborah in the screen.
Okay. I was having technical difficulty.
Okay.
I don't know what went wrong. So, So can everybody hear us? If y'all can hear us, give us a sign. Let us know because we're still on. I'm back on anyway.
I was answering Terry Roy's question, and then you just
Yeah,
disappeared.
I just disappeared and I couldn't get you back on. I couldn't get myself back on.
Well,
Yeah,
I left the room, and now I'm back. So I
right.
hope it works.
They can hear us. As I said, they can hear. Thank you guys. My apologies. You know, that's the internet. So, okay, so what do you think is your toughest aspect of this job?
The toughest aspect?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would say probably the toughest aspect of the job is managing unrealistic expectations that come at us from customers that simply just don't know the scope, and we get a lot of frustrated people at the county clerk's office because they're dealing with important things in their life, a business transaction, a real estate transaction, a marriage license, etc. And those are all big deals and happy occasions sometimes, but it is stressful. And so I think just being able to manage everyone's expectations can be a challenge, and especially when it comes to our elections. For example, we have a lot of misinformation about elections, and there is a lot of contention and division nationwide about elections. And
Right.
I foresee that particular division of the office being the most challenging going forward. I don't really see that lessening in the near future, and so I think that will probably be the toughest thing.
Right, right. And it sounds like it would be tough to me in a way. If it's not, I know that on other jobs that you have, I know you've been in business of your own, but even before then, tell me about a time that you had to comply with a policy or procedure that you did not agree with it. And how did you handle it?
Hmm. The time I had to comply with a procedure I did not agree with. I mean, as a business owner, I wrote all my own policies and procedures,
Right.
so that was never an issue. I would probably say when I was working with the city of Beaumont prior to working with the county,
Mhm.
there were some, I wouldn't say there were procedures I didn't agree with, but there are usually things that could be made easier.
Mhm.
And in the instance of helping, for example, when I was with the city and I was the census point person, we were following procedures and things that had to do with outreach and with communicating to who needed to be counted, etc. And there were so many more things that I wanted to do, and that it's not necessarily that they didn't want to do it, but it was just the time is of the essence piece, and restrictions like that. I can't say that I've ever had to implement a policy that I didn't agree with, but I've
Mhm.
certainly had to do less than I wanted to do.
Right. Right. Now I'm loving hearing what you're saying, and I get it. I get it. What you're talking about for you to be the candidate for Jefferson County Clerk, but there's another candidate that's running for the office as well. So
Hmm.
why should I vote for Jess Prince?
You should vote for Jess Prince because I have done the job, because I am committed to administering fair and accessible and equitable elections, because I am very committed to our community and to helping our community, and I have demonstrated that very publicly and consistently for the last 16 years, because I am so committed to public service that I went and earned a Master of Public Administration so that I could go seek professional roles in our government, even though I already had a job of my own with my own business and in the private sector. I have a heart for helping our community. And I think that is worth a lot. But more importantly, I'm really impassioned about giving the best leadership that our community deserves. And I believe that I am experienced, qualified, and prepared to be an asset to our county.
Okay, guys, we've heard from Jess Prince, and I appreciate you guys for coming on and asking the questions and everything. But it's time for election. Oh my,
It is time for election.
my tongue get all twisted. It's time for election. Like we said earlier, early voting starts next Monday, October 24th, and it goes all the way to November 4th. Then you have early voting, which is Tuesday. I mean, early voting, election day, which is Tuesday, November the 8th. Jess Prince is running for county clerk. Talk is cheap, y'all. Vote is free.
That's right.
Take it to the polls.
But let me say this now. Voting is not going to cost you anything when you go on the 24th, but it does cost money to administer these elections. I've seen the contracts, I've drawn up the contracts, and it is not a cheap thing to administer countywide. And so if you are a taxpayer in Jefferson County, you are paying the bill for these elections to be run, whether you show up and vote or not. So you should think about that.
Right.
And it's also something that has cost people before us quite a lot. And we need to remember that too.
Even their lives.
Yes.
Even their lives.
Yes.
So, yeah, we do need to remember that. So people, we shouldn't be afraid of the government. Government should be afraid of us. So let's go out there and vote. Okay?
Yes.
Let's hold these people to what they're saying. Let's hold them accountable for what they tell us. Jess Prince said, what was your slogan? Tell us again.
Vote yes for Jess and let me clerk it.
Okay, and she told you what that meant.
Yes.
So okay, so if Jess wins, we're gonna hold her accountable for it.
Please do.
Yes, and so we gotta get out there. Go next door, get your neighbor. Go down the street, get the other neighbors, and tell them they have to vote.
Absolutely. Please. And 8 to 5 is the hour of early voting for week 1, but we will have early voting on Saturday from 7 to 7 and Sunday from 12 to 6, and then a whole second week from 7 to 7. So please make time. If you can't go on your lunch break, just take a moment, make it a priority, because it is very important to show up for these midterm elections.
Very important.
Our local leadership is on the ballot, and the local leadership has the biggest impact on your day-to-day life.
Yes. Yes. We have to live with this.
That's right. For the next 4 years. So take
the next 4 years, we have to live with it. So every election is determined by the people who show up.
That's right.
Every election. Go all the way down. Do your thing, because whoever name on there, whoever you vote, I can't tell you who to vote for. I can't tell you what to do when you vote.
But I am asking for your vote. All of you people watching, I'm asking for your vote, and I'm telling you that there are 11 early voting locations. You do not have to go in your precinct. You can vote at any one of them for 2 whole weeks, and then we will have 39 locations on election day. So you have the opportunity to vote.
Yes. So
please do it.
Let's do it. Like I said, go get those neighbors down the street. Go get everybody else and go. And we got people out there that do not vote at all, that are registered to vote. And so we need to go let them know our local officials are running for office, and they need your vote. Whoever they are, whoever they may be, let's vote. Anything you need to tell us before we shut it down, Jess?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity to come back on the show. And again, thank you for all you do to be informative for our community. And for anyone that is watching this, I want to thank you in advance. If you have supported me, if you're considering voting for me, I appreciate it. I have been running for office for a year and over 4 months. And so I have not been able to do that alone. It is a great task that involves a lot of volunteers and a lot of sacrifice. And I'm very grateful for this experience. But I am asking for your vote for me. So please keep that in mind.
Thank you guys for joining Blue Table Talk tonight. We, as always, I appreciate you. As always, you support me, and I appreciate that. God bless you and God keep you is my prayer. If I can help anybody as I pass along this way, then I know that my living is not in vain. God bless
Amen.
you. Smooches, just stay on. Bye, y'all.
Bye.